I want to start off by saying that this is not because I want a pity party. It is the complete opposite. I want to talk about this as an experience that many might either relate to or they are curious about. And it'll also help me get better in organizing my ideas to grow and move forward. And I think for me, sharing it on my platform is the first step in me moving on. For those of you who don't know me, my name is Alanis Sophia. I am a singer, songwriter, actress, dancer, musician, anything you can think of, that's me. For those of you that are returning to my channel, hi, welcome back. I don't really ever do this kind of stuff, like talking to the camera one-on-one, but I thought if I was gonna start doing that stuff, then I should do it talking about me. If I'm looking down, it's because I'm looking at my laptop for pointers. I am a thinker, and I have a lot on my mind. I kind of lose it all. Okay, yeah. So I was born in Puerto Rico. As a child, I was always really into music. I would just randomly sing all the time, be singing 24/7. Eventually, I moved to Florida when I was 5. Throughout those years, I was still singing, still dancing, still acting. And then eventually, a couple of years ago, about 7 to be exact, I took part in a reality singing TV show called La Voz Kids.
A singer in the smoking room, smell of wine and cheap perfume. On and on and on and on. Strangers, somewhere in the night. Don't stop believing.
It was my first experience in performing live.
Yeah, you make me feel love.
First experience working with a big artist.
You were hot. I forgot.
And first experience working in the music industry overall.
This is your song. It may be quite simple, but now that it's done, everybody talks, everybody talks too much. It started with a whisper.
I came as runner-up at 12 years old.
I'm not done yet. Sooner, it's bulletproof glass.
Recently, Telemundo has been re-airing the episodes during quarantine, and it really brought back a lot of nostalgic feelings, to the point where it brought me back in touch with the rest of the participants from that season. Being on the show made me realize that I'm so grateful for that opportunity. Being on that show really opened doors for me. It also made me realize that music was what I really wanted to do. But there was a lot of pressure though. It's a competition. I was a kid. Being that young, starting out in the industry, surrounded by a bunch of people who have way more experience than I did at the time, really intimidated me. I think at one point I felt less than everyone else because I was the only one with nothing in common with everyone else except my love towards music. I didn't have any vocal or performance training. It was just me and my mom backstage before each performance. I am so grateful that Telemundo is airing everything again, so thank you. After the show, I went back to Puerto Rico for the first time since I had moved, which was such a surreal experience. I was greeted by a lot of people who came to greet me, like fans with signs, screaming, news reporters, my family who I hadn't seen in years. I was so happy. I was only there for like a couple of days, but I had gone there for interviews and for a performance that I was having in Cabo Rojo, which thousands of people came to see me, like people from other towns, to the point where they had to close off streets because of how overpacked it was. So many little girls dressed up as me. I felt so famous. Once I got back from Puerto Rico, I went on to become an ambassador for the company Visit Florida. I was the face of the tourism here in Florida for 4 consecutive years. I recorded jingles, scenes in touristic places such as Walt Disney World, SeaWorld, St. Augustine, Gatorland, and then Floridian areas such as like beaches and parks. It was a lot of pressure even then as well, because I was still a kid. I was still in middle school. Like during filming, I was still trying to balance schoolwork and also going to the studio to record my first EP. I was 13. It was a challenge. Eventually I had to transfer to online schooling and stay homeschooled because it was too much for me to balance. I was missing a lot of school. I didn't want to fail because education is really important to me. So I made the decision of transferring to online school so I could keep going with my career. But yeah, after Visit Florida, I went on to record my EP. I worked with producer and songwriter Jose Luparan. He's worked with big Latin artists such as Marc Anthony, Cheyenne, J-Lo, etc. I recorded 3 covers: Don't Stop Believing by Journey, Your Song by Elton John, and Mirando el Cielo by Roberto Tapia. And then I also recorded an original, but in 2 different versions. So one in Spanish, one in English, Dulce Fantasía, Sweetest Fantasy. It was my first studio experience. I was so excited. I was so nervous. I suddenly can't sing. Still young, so I was still trying to process everything. And I remember that working in the studio for that first time on my own personal music, it kept me motivated to continue in the industry because all I've ever wanted was to release music that resonates with people in a way that they can feel what I'm feeling, what I'm singing, and they can relate and whatever message I'm trying to send. Throughout 2015 through 2016, I focused more on my acting career. I was still recording covers on YouTube and on my social media platforms, but I was focusing more on my acting. So I was really auditioning for a lot of roles. You get told a lot of no's. No! Rather than yeses. It's something that still plays with my emotions. I'm used to it now. But at the time, with all of the experience that I had before jumping into acting for the first time, I thought that I would be told yes, considering everything that I had on my resume. That wasn't the case. I learned, it's fine, I kept going, which eventually landed me a role as a character named Rosa. This was a pilot that kind of recorded an overall idea of what the show would have been about. It was created by Adam Anders, who is a producer who's done like the music for Glee. He's done the soundtracks for Camp Rock, High School Musical, a bunch of Disney Channel artists, a bunch of musical artists that include to Buenos Aires, Argentina, the main character. I had such a fun time because I was doing all 3 things that I love to do at the same time: singing, dancing, and acting. But after that, you wait for the call.
When's filming gonna start?
And you're still waiting. Then you get called and say that it didn't get picked up. So then you have to start from 0. I felt really sad. I really thought after I landed that role that was it. I was finally getting what I wanted. I was finally getting what my family and I had worked so hard for. At one point, I did want to give up. Yeah. I'm giving up my high school experiences and to keep working for nothing. I went on to do commercials. I did a commercial for Clean and Clear. I did a commercial for Telcel, which is a phone company in Mexico. Why did I say Mexico? Mexico. Yeah, that was also fun. I loved Mexico. Oh my God, I loved Mexico. Such a beautiful culture. All of these acting jobs kept me working really hard, improving. It wasn't easy. It still isn't. But I have such an amazing support system. My family, my parents, my siblings, my friends, they're the ones who've kept me going. Towards the end of summer 2017, around August, my mom got an email from a record label called Big Machine Label Group. They wanted to meet me because they want to sign me. There I go again thinking, oh my God, this is it. An A&R flew out from Nashville to Tampa to have lunch with me and my mom. Hi, Julianne Raymond. I found a YouTube video of me singing Selena's song Bidi Bidi Bum Bum. Wanted to sign a Latina in a country label, which at the time I was like, how's that gonna work? But you know what? I had to step out of my comfort zone. I had to try. So they flew me out to Nashville towards the end of 2017, back and forth, recording demos after demos, songs written by other writers. At the beginning of 2018, I signed with Big Machine, kept recording more demos. They realized that I have a songwriting ability, so they booked me writing sessions with other writers. I probably maybe recorded and wrote over 80 songs or more during my time with them.
It was more. I counted. It was like over 100 songs.
Big Machine really hold a special place in my heart because I learned a lot during my time with them. I learned how to work with other writers. I'd never done co-writing before. I learned how to work with studio musicians, tell them what I liked, what I didn't. I'm a people pleaser, just be like, okay, even if I don't like it. So I had to learn to literally step out of my comfort zone, challenge myself and push myself to be direct with people. I also learned how to deal with constructive criticism. With my platform on social media, I've always been a person who's always broadcasting how happy I am and and how perfect everything seems, but it's really not perfect. I've never really liked showing people my vulnerable side. Only a certain amount of people who are close to me have seen me vulnerable. There's always something going on that artists never talk about. I had to be mentally and emotionally prepared for the best outcomes, but also the worst outcomes. There was a point at the time, because I was trying so hard to get them to like me, get them to like my music and pick it, that I had lost myself, and I had become so insecure, and I wasn't sure of myself, and I doubted every move that I made just because I wanted everyone to tell me that I was doing such a great job. You get the downsides, but then there's the upsides. You're in the studio working on your music 24/7, working on your craft, and you're building friendships.
With some of the negatives, I turn them into something positive. I understand that there's always a reason behind things, that there's a greater message, life lesson, meaning behind every moment in my life. Record labels make an investment in an artist, which it already makes it a risk enough. We as artists have to understand that things often don't work out, not because we're not good enough, but because labels can't risk anything that could potentially harm their business, but also our image. And I totally understand this from a business and commercial perspective. Big Machine and I were trying to create a fusion that's a mixture of Latin and country music combined. They didn't want to affect my image, not because I wasn't a good songwriter or a good singer or artist, but because it was such a difficult combination to make that had to come across natural and authentic. They didn't want to release anything bad that could have potentially harmed my career and their company. This is an industry that can be a disappointment for many artists like myself, but we have to understand that if there's no direction, then it's for the best to not affect anyone in the long run. Big Machine are my friends, and I appreciate everything that came out of this experience. I don't have anything against them and the situation because I grew as a person and as an artist thanks to Scott and the Big Machine family. Whatever comes easy, easy will go. Anything bad that perhaps others will think it's bad, I find it positive and life-changing. Artists have to understand, and I include myself, that not everything is going to come out the way we want it. But that's okay because usually it's for the best. They cared about me, and that's what I appreciate the most. It is difficult. There's a lot of tears. But like myself, I know that anyone in this industry, including those who are on top right now, have shed the same amount of tears or more, and have gone through the same thing. The most important thing is that they were taking care of me since I entered the company. They were taking care of my image, and how good I would look, and how they would have presented me. I respect that, and I love that. And even today, I still talk to Scott and Julian, and we're friends. And that's way more valuable than anything else. You know, it's like this happened, but I got this out of it. I have to stick with that mindset. I look back at the beginning to now, and the growth is huge. My songs were not good at the start. But because I got exposure to good writers and good musicians, each step along the way made me improve. I got educated. It was like school for me, and I'm continuing to educate myself. Big Machine pushed me even more to wanting to stay in the industry. Anything that I had worked for, they reinforced it. I even sat down with Scott and fixed my songs with him, exchanged ideas to try and make it work. Same with Julian. I would have never met all of the artists, producers, and musicians, and friends that I have now if it weren't for Big Machine. Even though we mutually decided to part ways, anything that they need from me, I will be there for them in a heartbeat. Which is the reason why I will be releasing some of the songs I wrote during my time with them, because 1, my love for country music grew, and 2, I'm so grateful for all of the hard work and time that they all put in me to try and make this a success.
I hope that I didn't bore any of you watching this. I'm going to be trying to record more. I have no idea what other topics I can talk about. I just wanted this to be the first one. So if you have any ideas or any topics that you'd like me to touch base on, comment on my post and let me know. Stay tuned for my music that's going to be released soon. Please like this video and subscribe to my channel if you want.